we've interviewed a few teenagers. We've interviewed somebody that is now at Yale. We are very excited to say that. So we wanted to continue that conversation, looking at somebody, getting it from somebody else on the opposite side of this kid. So they're dealing with family, they're dealing with school, they're dealing with all those things. But how do they get the support apart from mom, dad, immediate family? So when Lucia mentioned that you're a school counselor, I'm like, yes, I've never had to talk to a school counselor. I don't think we even had that in school. It was not a thing.
We had the cleaners. We talked to the cleaners.
It was not a thing. You have teachers, you have principal, and you have mom and dad and grandma and whoever else is there. So this is new for us, well, at least for me, because I never went to school K through 12 in the US, so in overseas. So it is new for us. So we're here to learn as well, to know what our kids are even when they say a school counselor has to talk to them. What does that really mean? Like, what is it? So we're curious. That's bottom line of it.
You will find out a lot today. Hopefully, I'm able to spread some knowledge and some wisdom. Unless you get what's going on in the schools.
Tips to make this school year the best school year ever. And I'll just give you a glimpse of one thing that we talked about that is very dear to my heart, is being hopeful for the good in your children this year. And in doing that, you are also sending love to them through yourself, because there is no way you can be hopeful if you don't believe in them, if you don't believe in the good that is going to come out of them. So my question is, what do school counselors do? Like, what is their role? Like, what do they do for the kids? Or
So it depends, because you can have different roles. So for me, in my specific role, I'm a child and youth worker for a specific classroom. So technically, if I have to be on technical terms, I'm there to support the needs, the emotional, the behavioral needs of the students in my classroom. But then also child and youth workers who are for the whole school. So instead of having a class, they'll have multiple classes, and they're there to service the whole school in terms of, like, their needs, maybe behaviors, things that are not going right in the kids' homes, and they're there to come and talk to the child and youth worker and see what's going on and things of that nature. So it depends on what school you're at, your role. But for me, I'm, like I said, quote unquote, for my classroom, but I make myself available to all the kids in my school. But for technical terms, I'm a child and youth worker assigned to one classroom in my school.
That's nice.
So do you get assigned to the same, to different group of students every year? I'm assuming.
Well, it depends, because, like I said, the grades that we have in my class are grade 4, 5, and 6. So if we get them in grade 4, they could be with us grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. So we might have the same kids for 3 years. We might get a kid in grade 5 and have him for grade 5 and 6. We might have a kid just only for grade 6. So it just depends on what grade they are and when they're coming to our school, and things of that nature. So it depends. But if I get them from grade 4, they could stay to grade 6. So I could potentially have them for 3 years.
Okay. Nice.
So you're actually developing a relationship with them.
Yeah. No, it's a real relationship. It's not just like you come and meet with me, or I come meet with you for a couple minutes or a couple times a week, and then we're gone. No, I'm in there with the classroom teacher, with the class on a day-to-day basis, 5 times a week. So even if you're tired of seeing my face, I mean, we have the whole school year together. So you gotta bear with me at some point and learn to like me, because I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, that's unique. I like that. So maybe take us through your day. Like, what would like a typical day look like as that support for the kids? A summary of what your day looks like, in like what are some of the things that can come your way, or
Yeah, every day is different. So I couldn't even give you a summary of what one day looks like, because one day might not look like the next day. But
I understand.
typically what it kind of looks like is my kids take the bus to school. So I have to be at school for 8:30 to meet them at the bus, greet them. And then they stay with me until the bell rings, and then they go to the back until the school bell rings, and then the teacher comes and picks them up and brings them back to class. And for my specific classroom, I work in a junior autism program. So with kids with autism, a lot of the things that they thrive and they need is structures and routine. So from the beginning of the school year, me and my teacher, we implement like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We have a classroom schedule. We let them know what their days are going to look like. Because another thing with kids that have autism is that sometimes they don't like surprises. They want to know what their day is looking like so they know what to expect. Because if I were to say, okay, well, we have gym now, they might not have known that we've had gym, and it could be a situation. So we just let them know, okay, today is day one. We have this, we have that, we have that. We have morning routines that we do. We do like a morning check-in with them in the morning. Let us know how you're feeling. Are you feeling green, which is, are you in the green zone, which is, are you feeling happy? Are you in the red zone, which means, are you feeling mad? So kind of gives me and my teacher a gauge of how they're feeling. So we kind of know how we could deal with them, or maybe one kid needs a little bit more support than the other one, because maybe one is in the green and he could be independent, and the other one is in the red, and we might have to kind of watch that one a little bit. And so that's like the morning time. They have 3 recesses. I'm with them at each recess, just to, for the most part, I give my kids independence. I'm just more hanging out in the background because they might have some issues at recess. So I'm just there to kind of just hang back. If they can handle it by themselves, then, I'm happy that they could do that. If they need a little bit of intervention, then that's when I'll kind of jump in and, see what the situation is and try and diffuse it. And like I said, then they have the teacher in the classroom. She focuses on the academic work. I focus on the behavior, the emotional, the social part. I run a social skills program with the kids in my class twice a week. So we'll talk about like different things like, personal hygiene and manners, and just the things that, like when the school year starts, I kind of have an idea of what I want to talk about. But then, throughout the school year, I see like, well, this kid doesn't brush his teeth in the morning. I got to talk about personal hygiene and the importance of brushing your teeth and changing your clothes and taking a shower and stuff like that. So that's just a brief, if it was even brief, a brief synopsis of what I do and what a day could look like. It could change on a daily basis, but yeah.
That is awesome.
I actually looked up the definition. Well, I'm sure it's broader than what I have. It says that you specialize in the development and implementation of therapeutic programs and planned environments, and the utilization of daily life events to facilitate change. I think, Bruce, pretty much that's what you just...
That's a lot of words to just...
I know.
They always got to make it sound fancy sometimes, but...
I know, right?
I'll give you the unfancy version.
Well, that is cool.
So basically, because you mentioned like if you have a situation, can you give us like one situation that you have to de-escalate, or whatever it is that you have to intervene? So the kids, like I said, the kids in my class, they thrive and they need structure, routine. A lot of them thrive off visuals. They have to see what their day is looking like. So we have like a visual schedule of what's going on. Because if you tell them, it might go in one ear and out the other. But if we tell you, listen, it's on the board right there, then they could see it multiple times a day. So
something very small. It might seem something like small to us, but to them it's everything. So there'll be days where we have French and maybe French is canceled because the French teacher is sick. For them, they know that at 11 o'clock is my French time. Now you're telling me I don't have French at 11 o'clock. For some of them, they're able to accept it and move on. For others, it's, okay, so what are we doing now? What's going to happen? Why isn't the French teacher here? Just a lot of worries and a lot of stress. And for some, it could be very small. Others could take it up a bit. So like I said, something very small like that, just not having their schedule followed through like they have it on a day-to-day basis. That could be a situation that could maybe set one of the kids off. And then it's up to me to try and massage the situation and, just let them know, listen, teacher's sick, it's just for the day, and try and give them other alternate like activities or things that we could do to try and get them on the right path for the rest of the school day.
Wow. That is very essential. And like I like how you said it. For us, it might look different. It's not something like we can quickly adjust. And for others, and like for your kids that you're dealing with, it needs some processing and some added things to be. It needs something more. It needs support more. It needs more support. And I feel like sometimes we do forget that I'm just thinking about a theme that we've been working on this whole year as an Aplomb woman in trying to be daring and confident. Like sometimes we look at others that we don't feel like we question why they behave in some certain ways or they come through in some certain ways without knowing the support they actually need to actually make it through the different changes that come to them in life. So for me, that's a eye opener. Yes, I'm not in school, I'm not with those kids, but like just the people that I deal with, even our own kids now, it's just they need a little bit more support because there is a change, and sometimes we don't know that something has changed. But when you're in there with them, this is the change and this is how I need to support them. That brings me to, I feel like, families. I'm one of the things that you deal with. You have to like have a cohort with families for you to be able to support those kids. How do you make that or nurture that relationship with the family so that what you started at school continues at home, or what has started at home continues at school, so you both supporting the kids? Because I believe that has to happen.
For sure. And that's why it's important to have open lines of communication, and just to, I think, more communication is important, and also honesty on both sides, because especially with kids with autism, sometimes the parents are in denial of certain things. So then they kind of put a little bit more expectations on the child than the child could handle, which could lead to them acting out in different ways. But sometimes it's not the behavior of like them actually acting out. It's that they just aren't able to, just the expectations are just too great. And sometimes that frustration comes out in, I'm going to break something, I'm going to throw something, I'm going to yell, I'm going to swear. So another part of my job is that I make goals for the kids that I want to see throughout the year. So like in September, something as simple as maybe my goal for September will be, getting adjusted to me and getting adjusted to the teacher in the classroom, because sometimes they've come from a new school. They might have had a different teacher. The teacher might have had different ways. So now they got to get adjusted to how I am and how my teacher is. And then on a monthly basis, me and the kids we'll sit down and I'm like, well, these are the goals that I've had for you. How do you think that you've measured? Do you think that you've completed it? Do you think that you need work? Do you think you're on the right track to meeting these goals? And sometimes a kid is able to meet goals like this, but sometimes a goal I made in September, we're in June and that goal is still not met. So sometimes could be a short process, but sometimes it's a long process where some of these goals are rolling into the next year. So with parents, I definitely let them know of, the stuff that we're working on at school. And it's important for that to continue back at home, because like you're with us at school for a little bit, but then you go home. So if we're telling you to do something, for example, over the years, one of the things I've had to teach my kids about is personal hygiene. You got to brush your teeth, you got to shower, you got to change your clothes, you got to do all those type of things. So if I have a kid who's telling me that, oh, I'm not brushing my teeth at home, then I'm letting the parents know, listen, this is what we're working with with student so-and-so at school. When you go home, can you please just remind them to do this, remind them to do that? So then after a while, it won't need a reminder. It's just going to be implemented into their daily routine. But if I'm telling the kid, brush your teeth in the morning and brush your teeth at night, and the parents are not really kind of pushing that as well, then it's going to take a lot longer for that kid to really get what I'm trying to teach them, because now me and the parents are on different pages. But if we're on the same page, then everything is much more smoother, and a lot of progress could be made faster that way.
I think that applies to even those even children without autism.
Yeah, definitely. That applies, because like right up front, like my kids, like the teacher tells you, like we have to be partners. That's the only way it's gonna work.
You have to. And the thing is, as working with your child in school, I may see some things that you may not want to hear, or some things that you may not like. Maybe certain stuff that I see, maybe you don't see it at home, or maybe you're just like, you do see it, but you're kind of like oblivious to the situation because you don't want to believe that, oh, my child wouldn't do this, my child wouldn't talk that way. But listen, I'm telling you, this is what your child is doing. So the quicker that you're able to accept that and move on, and now we work together to kind of like eliminate these behaviors and make new positive ones, we'll have more progress. But sometimes some of the difficulties we've had is the parents just don't want to believe certain things. They don't want to, oh no, it can't be. I've never heard my child say this. I've never seen my child do this, but I'm telling you, your child has done it. I've seen it. So I'm telling you right now. So what can we do to, eliminate some of these negative behaviors? But if we're on the same page, then it's much easier. But if we're on different pages, then it's kind of like, yeah, like, Mr. Williams, you're my teacher, but that's my mom, that's my dad. And obviously they put the parents above us.
Yeah.
So if the mom and the dad is saying one message and we're saying another message, the parents' message will probably be the one that they take the most. So, and if the parents are not saying something that is aligned with what we're saying, then kind of work gets wasted, and it takes longer to make certain changes.
And who loses in this situation? The kid.
The kid, because in the moment, you might not have, confronted stuff that you want to have confronted, but as they get older, there's certain behaviors that if they're not like, nipped in the bud when they're younger, as they get older, it gets worse and it gets worse, and they only get bigger, and they get hormones, and now they meet new people who, so it's a lot. It could snowball into something much bigger and when you look back, you're like, wow, I could have, if I just listened to Mr. Williams, or I just listened to this person or that person, I wouldn't be in the situation I am now. But a lot of parents don't look at their kids like maybe 3-4 years in the future. They're just kind of trying to think about the right now. And sometimes it's easier not to deal with it right now, but it gets harder to deal with it in the future. But they don't think that way.
Wow, that is a word for parents.
I had a patient. We haven't seen him in a bit now. He's now 17. And what you're saying, as you were saying, it just came to mind. When we see him, the parents are always there with him, and in a form of enabling a lot of behaviors. He was a nice kid, did everything, that he was supposed to do. But because they enabled him a lot, he started getting into things and stuff, and he developed a significant addiction to alcohol and recreational substances that he could not he could not come off of it. And we were trying, he went into group homes, which is where another place you will find like a child and youth worker, right? They were trying counseling as well. But from our end, from the medical side, he was going into significant liver failure. It's a 17-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Every time he came, he could not even articulate some of what he wanted to articulate. Mm-hmm. Brilliant kid. But his grades were all declining, because half the time you could visibly tell he's either high or very intoxicated. And dad would be as if nothing is happening. We just talk as if, we're just going on with life. I think, and you get to a point where it looks like they're also overwhelmed, right? And we're helping, the youth counselor is trying to help. But I don't know, at this juncture, what can you do? Because the parents are not, I don't want to put the blame on the parents, but at this time, I mean, what can you do?
I don't know. It's tough because, I'm a child and youth worker in the school, but I also work in group homes and a treatment home. So I have so much different experience because school is much more different than a group home. And a group home, depending on where you are, is also much more different than a treatment home. It's for that question to answer, it's kind of hard because it also depends on the level of involvement of the parent, because some parents, as bad as it sounds, they're kind of hands off and their child is in treatment and they really could care less, or they don't want to really be bothered in care, and the parents are very involved, but sometimes too involved to the point where now you're kind of disrupting your child's treatment. Obviously, if your child is now been taken from your house to this treatment house, is for a reason. So if now we're trying to provide the treatment, at some points you got to kind of let us do what we do. And obviously if we need to involve you, and we will, but some parents still are trying to, and some parents overcompensate. They try to parent more when the kid is in the treatment home, because now they feel guilty that they should have been really parenting when the child was in the home, but now the child is gone in the treatment home now, and now they feel like they want to parent. But not that it's too late, but obviously it's gone to the point where they can't live with you. So now maybe as a parent, you need to develop a little bit more skills, or maybe you're overwhelmed. Take this time to kind of reset and recharge.